Over the last 2 decades, improving access to the quality of primary education had been a focus of government, development partners and citizens in Uganda and across East Africa. Most East African children were enrolled, with 95% in Kenya, 97% in Tanzania and 94% in Uganda, with girls' enrollment nearly equal to boys. Money consistently continues to be allocated to schools, but the timing and amount delivered was unpredictable. The number of teachers increased.
It is 4. You come and write.
But there were still many empty classrooms. Children are in schools, but are they learning? Major constraints and challenges included low community participation and ownership of education activities. Inadequate capacity, particularly at district levels due to slow recruitment, training and deployment of qualified teachers. The challenge, however, that remains is whether the millions of children were learning, and the shift was to focus from enrollment to learning.
Is she correct? Yes. Is she correct? No. How many people are saying she's correct?
In order to address the situation and improve competencies in literacy and numeracy, Uwezo Uganda, under an initiative under Uwezo East Africa, recently conducted sport tests at household levels, assessing and promoting learning outcomes among school children aged 6 to 16.
And one of the things, therefore, what Uwezo is concerned about is first and foremost to ensure that we bring in the community, because we know that the communities are very, very important and instrumental, as well as the parents, in the learning of their children. So what Uwezo does is that we use this evidence that we collect in the households as a mechanism of building a process of and a relationship between the community members and the different actors on education in the community to say, let us improve education. What the results will show you is that yes, the children are in school, but they will also show you that learning is not happening at the levels which we want.
Uwezo enables policymakers and ordinary citizens to become aware of actual levels of children's literacy and numeracy and build on that awareness to stimulate practical and policy change across East Africa.
The assessment process in the selected villages begins with the 2 volunteers who have been identified, sampling 20 households out of the village list of households that have been developed. So out of those 20 households, they are to assess children within the ages of 6 to 16. As the volunteers go into this village, they meet the local council leaders. They introduce Uwezo to them and why they're actually in the village.
In April 2010, Uwezo worked with a team of 1,620 volunteers and visited 16,200 households in 27 districts. It administered a simple primary 2 test in literacy and numeracy to 34,752 children between the ages of 6 to 16. The reading assessment involves letter recognition.
U R N I J K E B V A.
Reading a short paragraph.
I have only one cow. I get milk from the cow.
Reading a story and answering questions about it.
One afternoon, my father took us to the market. Mommy was not at home. While we were coming back, we got an accident.
Maths assessment involves number recognition,
19. 19.
arithmetic, which is adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Ethnomathematics, i.e., addition and subtraction in the real-life situation.
500 shillings while leaving home, but lost 150 shillings while playing. How much money did you remain with?
Very good. Weza Uganda's goal is to increase children's literacy and numeracy and help shift attention from infrastructure and enrollments to children's learning and learning outcomes.
Went to go. Sarah likes meat for lunch.
Are our children learning? Up to 85% of all children sampled in Class P7 in the 27 districts surveyed could solve at least 2 numerical written division sums of P2 level difficulty correctly. 19% of all children sampled in Class P3 could not recognize letters of the alphabet, and only 2% could read and understand a story text of P2 level difficulty. About 72% of all P2 children sampled could read and understand a story text of P2 level difficulty, while 28% could not. Among all children sampled in classes P3 to P5, slightly more girls, 11.4%, could not recognize letters of the alphabet compared to 10.9% boys. More boys, 59.5%, in classes P6 to P7 could read and understand a story text of P2 level difficulty compared to about 53.3% girls.
Mary also.
Among all children sampled in classes P3 to P7, Eastern Region was comparatively worse with 5 districts surveyed across the country, among the 13 worst performing districts in terms of proportion of children who could read and understand a story text of P2 level difficulty. The 5 districts are Amuria, Mayuge, Kamuli, Budaka and Katakwi. Only Busia district among the 6 districts sampled from Eastern Region was not among the 13 worst performing districts.
There are quite a number of factors that aid proper performance, good performance in our education sector. One of them is the preparation made by teachers before they go to class. In Busia in particular, we try to emphasize and we make it a point to the teachers to be prepared to make schemes of work and lesson plans before they go to class to deliver their lessons. And I think that one has gone a long way in enhancing good performance, especially in the primary section in the Busia district.
Albino, one month again, or school tier board, Tianatino, Peron would do the abear. Mario, Paroti, would point up a tear, no point on Betty. Jemma Caro, or Tino Pono, Ponya Bear, you know, team school a bear, but pay Bertino, Pole, walk both primary 7. Poema Caro. Buru ay tan tun kan tun jaba big medicine cha bon wen ko ya do mi o no ni poñi ma kar ko ramatino edi ma ti genno ni kidu poño ken da la ko gini on gena bela be kida ma woji ka to kede ni o ta mi woji ka ti konya ma gina ma konya wa school wani ni mi wada konya ko tiel ko ra ke wada nyuru ti to gina ko tiel ko ra ko ti ma kan no be poñi.
Uwezo will reach people on a large scale using TV, radio, telephones, newspapers, source of media, and more. Uwezo made the results meaningful by comparing and ranking villages, districts, regions, and countries. Uwezo motivates people to take action by helping citizens hear each other's voices.
For those people who haven't seen any test, at least this is a very empowering process because it helps them to actually know that a test that you do at home can help you to understand at what level your child is. Now that also is an important part of people thinking through that what can I do within my limited resources, so that the issues around education are not about asking government to give you, but also saying what can I do within my limited resources to ensure that I contribute meaningfully to the learning of my child. And that is something that we hope that Uwezo will be able to contribute to the education processes in this country. We are doing just one small thing, which is about community participation, but which is a very important thing that we know that the government should actually be able to appreciate.
Uwezo promotes the national conversion about education, but it is the regular citizen who will determine the pace of change. Uwezo Uganda aims to fill the gap in educational assessment and social change by generating new information on children's literacy and numeracy across East Africa in a manner that informs the public, stimulates countrywide debate, and creates pressure for policy change from the bottom up. It is expected that by the end of Year 4, there will be greater public understanding and debate about learning, with at least 40% of parents and other community members in the sampled communities and at least 20% parents and community leaders nationwide aware of the general levels of children's literacy and numeracy.
His Excellency did announce that the government was going to organize people's barazas, that they were going to organize open discussions at sub-county level, where the citizens would be able to comment on service delivery and also keep in check of their leaders. It is only left to us as Ugandans and technical people to implement. So Uwezo is doing exactly what I think the President has in mind. Get the citizens to analyze the service delivery. In this case, the service delivery in education.
Yes, it is my privilege and honor to now take the opportunity to officially launch the 2010 Uwezo Annual Learning Assessment Report.
The launch of the Uwezo Annual Learning Assessment Report has caused a lot of impact, whereby we've gotten some response from development partners, we've got response from the government, we've got response from the media. Prior to this, articles already ran in the media about Uwezo, and during the launch and after the launch, where us as Uwezo, we appreciate all this because it has it has already caused the debate on the learning. Many people are talking about it on media.
It is also expected that Uwezo will contribute to a 10% point increase in literacy and numeracy levels among children aged 6 to 16 in Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania.